Hi, everybody. It's Dana Markson from Rockstar Practice and Mind Soother Therapy Center. Today is Thursday, March 11th, 2021. This is Coping Skills Tool Belt, the workshop series. Today's topic is integrative hypnosis, improve your sleep ASAP. And that is a true story. I am really honored and pleased to welcome Melissa Tiers. I'll tell you a little bit about my history with Melissa. About 7 years ago, I went through a very serious bout of insomnia where I didn't sleep till 4 a.m. for about a year and a half, and it was really degrading my entire life. I was super desperate. I tried everything, medication, EMDR, meditation, yoga. I tried all of it. And my husband and I were leaving on for a vacation to Europe. I was actually a work vacation for him. And we were leaving that night. I don't know what possessed me, but I found Melissa online. I called her up on the phone. I spoke about my problem. She said, come on in for a session. I went in for one session of self-hypnosis training. So Melissa sat there with me in the chair. She sat in her own chair. I sat in mine. And she walked me through. Sounded like we were in the same chair, which we
Great
were
image.
not.
And she rubbed my back until I fell asleep.
Anyway, it was an hour or an hour and a half session that literally changed my life. We arrived in Europe. I took the red eye. We arrived there the next day, and I have not had insomnia one night since. And that is a true story. I am not making that up. This woman has changed my life. Also, I give myself credit because I am doing the techniques still to this day that Melissa has taught me. So suggestion to really absorb the techniques, even though they might feel like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Some of them might not really resonate for you. My suggestion would be to try them all because Melissa really knows what she's talking about. And I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself and take it away, Melissa.
All right. So, Melissa Tiers, and I have the Center for Integrative Hypnosis, or I have had the Center for Integrative Hypnosis up until December here in New York City. And now I'm basically doing all of my work online like the rest of us. So I developed this sleep protocol many, many years ago, really with myself as the main guinea pig. And it's been trial and error. It's been refined over the years. The way that I now teach it, especially when I'm teaching it to a big group, is to give you a bunch of the pieces involved in the protocol so that it's adaptable and you can kind of interchange it, in a way that suits you. Some techniques are going to resonate more than others. Then we'll put it together in a way that will kind of walk you through it. I think I am hearing a little feedback. Maybe that's from you. Donna, if you want to mute yourself until, there we go. The thing is, everyone knows there's a lot of talk and new books come out, this year on just how important sleep is for every aspect of life, for neuroplasticity, for integration of learning, there's not a single thing that we do where the foundational need for sleep doesn't come in. So that has added another element of pressure to people because they say you need to get sleep, you need slow wave, you need this wave, you need this, but they don't tell you how. So, I kind of fill in that gap. And I'll tell you that for some people, it's just the session, it's just a little bit of know-how and understanding how these things can be utilized in different ways is all they need. Some people you need to practice, it really depends on the individual. So I'm going to do my best today to give you enough variations on the tools so that you can piece something together for yourself. And I know that you're a bunch of therapists. There are pieces here that are vital for your clients as well, your patients. So we'll just start. I have a foundational, learning in NLP and clinical hypnosis, and I pull from, kind of neuroscience and embodied cognition and polyvagal theory. And, I am weaving these things together. So it's not just a traditional hypnosis that I teach. Nowadays, it's more practical neuroscience. And so we're really going to target your sleep from a bunch of different angles. And for some, as I said, just this technique, bam, that's all they need. For others, this one. For others, this one. For others, just down regulating the vagus nerve is enough to get you into that rest and digest and then kind of ease you into sleep. But what that means with my background is that I am a modeler. And what that means is I look at what people do and I study subjective experience. And I study it in a way that allows me to take someone who sleeps well, extrapolate their inner strategy, compare it to other people that sleep well, and then from there kind of reverse engineer processing that I can teach to people that need to sleep. And so one of the consistent things that I have found over the years is that people that sleep well, they get in bed and their internal dialogue is really slow. Their internal movies, slow, often almost hazy, pastelish. And when they wake up, that's reversed. So insomniacs, of course, have the opposing strategy, right? So let's just say someone who sleeps well, they get into bed and they think inside their head, oh, I'm so tired. And their images are slow, right? Their thought loops are slow and they fall asleep. They wake up and they're like, okay, got to get up, got to get in the shower. What have I got going on today? Blah, 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 blah. Insomniacs, the reverse. They lay in bed and they're like, oh my God, it's 11:30 already. I'm never going to get to sleep. How am I going to function tomorrow? I've got this going on and this going on and this going on. And Joe, how dare he say that shit today? What the hell did he even mean by that? And then they look at the clock and they're like, oh my God, now it's 12:30 and I still can't sleep. I can't believe I can't sleep. Why can't I ever sleep? And then in the morning, it's that old cliched, oh no, 5 more minutes, So one of the things that I want to show you is ridiculously simple, and yet you can feel the difference. So if everyone would take a moment, close your eyes and pretend that you're laying in bed and you're trying to sleep, but you're not sleeping. And what I invite you to do is to, as you're laying there thinking the thoughts that you would normally be thinking as you're trying to fall asleep, I want you to slow them down so that the dialogue is really slow. If you're processing in images, allow the images to slowly come into awareness and slowly fade. If you're thinking in movies, then slow down the movie. Maybe make it a little distant. And as you slow down your internal dialogue, notice what happens to your body. And of course, I can't see anybody. And I can't really get feedback. So I'm going to assume that you all did that with me. And having done this for a really long time, 20 years I've been in this field, I pretty much know that for most of you, and of course there's always exceptions, most of you noticed a relaxation. When I'm doing this with a client, I can watch their shoulders drop. I can see the change in their breathing. I can see the muscles in their face relax. So that's the first piece. Just slowing down, making what is typically outside of your conscious awareness, or at least what people think is outside of their conscious control, and starting to take control of that. I know people that piece is the piece that gets them to sleep. Just that little snippet. So that's one process. Okay. Now, again, I want to share with you that I will be teaching you pieces that you can then piece together. Another piece that I want to walk you through comes from tapping and meridian-based techniques. Now, at this point, I teach most of my clients a much shorter version, like a faster EFT. Except for sleep, it's faster EFT done slow. So let me walk you through that. And rather than just being walked through it, I really want you to take a moment. I want you to conjure up that feeling you have. Take a moment, close your eyes, imagine you're in bed, that kind of feeling of I'm never gonna frickin' fall asleep. And as a former rock and roll musician, insomniac, I know that kind of frustration. I told you I created this mainly for myself. So feel this feeling, whatever it is, kind of notice where it is in your body. For me, that feeling just, it's kind of here and it's like a frustration. Take a moment. As you allow yourself to touch base with that feeling, associated with not being able to fall asleep, notice where it is in your body, then open your eyes so you can follow me. We start at the top of the head, okay? And you're going to tap on this point on the top of the head, and you're just going to think to yourself, I release and let this go. You're going to then tap in between your eyebrows so that you can kind of touch both eyebrows. And think to yourself, I relax and let this go. I release and let this go. Then the side of the eye. And you're kind of tapping slow. I release and let this go. And under the eye. I release and let this go. So I can sleep. And you're going to grab your wrist. You're going to take a deep breath in. You're going to exhale twice as long. Notice what you notice. Most people will feel a relaxation as a kind of side effect, a byproduct of this technique, but some of you will already start to feel a little sleepy. We're going to go through it again. This time, I want you to really take notice, as if you had to memorize how it feels to tap, like even the sound it makes. So first, again, conjure up that feeling you have right before, you're laying in bed, you can't fall asleep. Conjure up that feeling. Notice where it is in your body. And then as you tap, really pay attention to how it feels, as if you had to memorize it. And then think to yourself, I release and let this go. 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 So I can sleep. Grab your wrist, deep breath in and exhale. Twice as long. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a deep breath in and exhale twice as long. We're going to do this one more time. This time, we're just going to imagine the tapping. And I know this is going to sound bizarre, but we're anchoring it in and it freaking works because some of you are sleeping with a partner next to you. And you might not want to wake yourself up enough. Let's say it's the middle of the night, you wake up, use the restroom, get back in, can't fall asleep. You're going to just imagine this. You could physically tap or just imagine it. So take a moment again, Conjure up that feeling of, I just can't fall asleep. And then imagine tapping on the top of your head and think the thought, I release and let this go. Imagine tapping in between your eyebrows. I release and let this go. The side of your eye, under your eye, and right below the collarbone point, so I can sleep. Then you can either just imagine grabbing your wrist and then taking a deep breath in and exhaling twice as long. Now, I will tell you that I learned the tapping technique. My daughter was 4, the daughter of 2 rock and rollers. Okay, so she never slept. This saved my life because still she's 20 years old, and when she can't sleep, she taps and she goes right to sleep. So that is the first, technique that you can employ. Sometimes I tell my clients, if you can't get to sleep because you're stressing out over something, then what you first want to do is think of the thing that you're stressing out over and then tap on it. Right? So some people will do a round or 2 of tapping on the day's stressors and then go to sleep, which brings me to this idea. You can think of stress as like a leaky pipe under your sink. And you put a bucket underneath to catch the drips. If you don't empty that bucket during the day, then come nighttime, it's overflowing, right? So throughout the day, it's really nice to be able to get rid of stress. And the tapping is one way. I want to teach you 2 very rapid ways that I actually believe I taught last year to this same group. But it's worth doing because this one can also be used when you're laying in bed. So if everyone can take a moment, find a spot to stare at, right? Straight ahead. And really focus in. That's foveal vision. What I want you to do without moving your eyes is begin to expand your awareness of all the space around that spot. Begin to expand into your peripheral field visually, as if you can now be aware of the walls on either side of you. Expanding peripherally, all that space around you, almost as if you could be aware of the space behind you. And bring it back into focus. Notice what that was like. I love this one. It has saved me. Let's just say for the past 4 years, I have a tendency to have internal dialogue loops that aren't useful. Some of you might be able to relate. And what this one does by shifting into peripheral vision, you not only access the parasympathetic nervous system, but you tend to stop internal dialogue. To me, this is my pause button. And I can do it whether I'm on an airplane, whether I'm walking down the street, the back of the person's head in front of me becomes the focal point. I shift out and I shut up. And that is my mantra: shift out, shut up. And it gives me that moment of peace. So let's do it one more time. Find a focal point. And this you can do if you're laying in bed. You can find a spot. I know the exact spot on my ceiling. That in the darkness, I can do this. You find that spot and then you shift out peripherally, just being aware of all that space. I imagine being aware of the wall, and then I imagine going beyond the wall. And I imagine reaching visually for that space behind me. And then we bring it back in. Now, if you're in bed, you don't have to bring it back into focus. You can go from this nice open focus space and then roll over and go to sleep. Now, I'm going to check the chat in case any of you have questions about that. Yes, shift out and shut up. Excellent. So because you guys aren't, I can't see you and your microphones are off because of the recording. Yeah, I can't stop yawning. I hear you, Pamela. You know, here's the funny thing. Years and years ago, I had a journalist come to me for insomnia. And, you know, we did a session, maybe we did 2 sessions, and she doesn't have insomnia anymore, right? Because this protocol works. She wrote about it in More magazine, which I had never heard of, but apparently it was popular. And all of a sudden, I was getting so many calls and emails from insomniacs that I remember one day I had 4 insomniacs in a row. And by the 3rd one, I was so exhausted. I just could not do one more client with this sleep protocol. I was just yawning. I couldn't get through even the pre-talk. And so I decided then to take all the insomniacs and teach a workshop in the evening. It was like an evening insomnia workshop where I also trained a bunch of my students in the protocol. And then I would just give all the insomniacs away. I was like, I can't. My rule is if I'm going to see someone for sleep issues, they are the last client of the day because I get exhausted. So yes. For the tapping piece, is there a recommendation for what side? Nope. Some people actually do two when they do tapping. I tend to tap with my right hand, so it just feels better to do my right side, but it really doesn't matter. Okay. So we've got this peripheral vision, which can be used, think of it as emptying out the bucket throughout the day. The other one I want to quickly go over, even though it's not a part of the sleep protocol, it is in the general empty the bucket throughout the day vibe. And so I want to teach it to you. It'll also maybe, you know, wake you up a little, just a little bit here for some of you that are saying you're starting to fall asleep. So take a moment. This one I typically teach as a pattern interrupt. I teach it to stop anxiety and to stop cravings, but certainly as a stress reduction technique. So if you have something, grab something. And I guess if you don't, you can just do it without. But as far as your brain goes, you've got a lot more territory in your fingertips and your fingers than you do in, you know, in most of your body. So that's why I actually like to use something. I've got my little brain here, but a water bottle, anything will work. I want you to take a moment so that you see just how brilliant this little technique is. It's one that I just teach to almost every client because it will stop anxiety like that. It stops a panic attack dead in its tracks. So it's clearly a little tool and technique you want to share. I have the first level of my work when I work with any individual, and certainly when I train therapists, is to teach a self-directed neuroplasticity, which is a whole host of different rapid techniques to teach your clients, but with the overall goal to rewire the habituated pattern in the brain. So I teach all of my clients that initially on the very first session, 5 different ways to just stop it, stop anxiety, but more importantly, to think of these techniques as a roadblock, right? So this is your habit road, right? And they go down it quite often, whether it's a habit of feeling, of doing, of thinking, it's a habituated pattern in the brain. So what I'm going to teach you now, and I've already taught you 2 of the pattern interrupts already, EFT, the faster version, shifting into peripheral vision. Think of it as you're starting to go down the road, we're putting a roadblock up. The roadblock forces the brain to detour. And every detour creates different neural connections. And so that's what you want to be able to do, is to arm people with different ways to get the hell out of an unwanted state. So take a moment, everyone, because you're not going to be impressed with this unless you actually feel it. Otherwise, you're going to be like, what the hell is that? So take a moment, really allow yourself to feel maybe some of the anxiety around sleep. And, scale it, right? 0 to 10. Where would you put this feeling as you allow yourself to touch base with some of that sleep anxiety or any stress or anxiety? Allow yourself to get some of that. Notice where it is and then follow me. Let's see. Okay, follow me. I'm just passing whatever it is back and forth. Now, the reason this works is because most of that anxiety involves an overactivation of one hemisphere. And it involves your whole brain, but it's an overactivation. And so what we're doing now, and many of you are EMDR therapists, so you know what I'm doing. It's bilateral stimulation. So we're stimulating right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain. And as long as you're crossing the middle of the body, you are stimulating both hemispheres. And that anxiety circuit just can't keep its shit together. So it's a brain hack, but it works. It has a nice rebalancing vibe. Usually takes anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. And that's what I tell my clients to do. And then stop and check in. What are you noticing? Yeah, what do you notice? Sorry, you have to type it, I guess. For me, this is just one that you can pull out anywhere. I work with kids and teens, and they love being able to, anxiety more muted. Exactly. Increase quiet. Thank you for sharing, you guys. And if there's still any left, you just do a little bit more. It's a good one. Why not?
This is one of the ones that you taught me, Melissa, when I came for my consult those years ago. And you taught me at the time, sit by the edge of the bed, do bilateral stimulation before laying down. So in anticipation and preparation of sleep. And I still do it religiously. I find myself doing it unconsciously now when I feel a stress feeling in my body somewhere. Maybe my heart rate's increasing a little bit. I find myself taking my pen and doing it. It's unconscious at this point because it's been so many years. Highly recommend. I teach this to every client as well, but for you, it keeps your arousal down.
Yep.
Right. And also sometimes it gets your heart rate up a bit and warms your body up a bit. And I find that I'm better off falling asleep when I'm not really cold. So for me, that's another benefit.
Right. See, nowadays I teach this more as throughout the day. If you're feeling any anxiety or stress,
Yes.
do this. At night, sitting at the edge of the bed, if you're feeling unwanted stress, I would recommend the tapping or some of the other techniques I'm about to share. Even shifting into peripheral vision quiets the mind and just allows everyone to, to kind of relax. And thank you guys for giving me feedback. Yeah, the event you were picturing doesn't have anxiety attached to it anymore. Isn't it amazing how simple it can be? I mean, I'm a bit of a zealot. I think everyone should know how to, hack their own brain. So we've got the tapping. 3, 4, 5, and then deep breath in. Exhale twice as long, which, by the way, is a very simple way to downregulate the vagus nerve and start to shift you into parasympathetic response. The inhaling and exhaling twice as long. Fantastic. Now, let's see Yeah, it definitely, to me, the addiction piece, this not only stops anxiety, but all of my anti-anxiety, techniques also will work for cravings. And when you arm someone and they've got 5 different ways to knock down a craving, they have less of them. So yeah, please share it, spread it around. Okay, so the next piece, normally I would do some heart breathing, which comes from heart math, but I have discovered something a little deeper. And this way then it gets something new too. So taking a moment, this is a really simple one that I want to share with you. Close your eyes, everybody. And I want you to start by relaxing the back of your tongue. Now, by relaxing the back of your tongue, you actually send less impulses to the language centers in the brain. What I want you to begin doing is slowing down your breathing. And for me, I imagine it as sipping like air through my nose down into my belly. When I say take a deep breath, initially my clients will go, and they'll lift their chest. That's not really a deep breath. A deep breath is one that goes right down into your belly. So sometimes I can suggest that you put your hand on your belly. And as you find a nice slower rhythm where you breathe into your belly, breathe out twice as long. Now I don't want to lead the breathing because I don't like being led that way. I like you to find your own nice rhythm. By relaxing the back of your tongue, then slowly breathing in and then slowly breathing out twice as long. You're going to start to really lean into that parasympathetic response. Now I'll invite you to notice at the end, very end of your exhale, there is a point, what I'm calling the still point. Just notice it. And then you breathe back in, breathing back in deep into your belly. And exhaling twice as long. And touching that still point with your mind. I love hanging out here in that moment. Then you breathe back in. And then as you exhale, reaching a little bit further into that stillness. I have many clients where they will do this and then kind of drift into that stillness and drift to sleep. So you never really know how just a few minutes of this can be the way that you can ease right into sleep. Some people, they do that tapping and that's all they need to fall asleep. Some people find the peripheral vision is really all they need to quiet the mind, relax, and go to sleep. But as you slow down your breathing, make it gentle, and exhale twice as long, reaching for that still point, sometimes you can just fade into sleep. So don't feel that you need to use all the techniques. If you fade into sleep, then that's a success. Now opening your eyes so that I can share with you some more, but take a moment and notice how you feel in the chat box, just so I feel like this is more of a conversation, which is the way that I like to teach my classes. What was this like for you guys? Yeah, thumbs up. Peaceful, grounded, relaxed. I don't know, but when I exhale twice as long, that still point for me is like, it's almost like, yes. Noemi says it got longer and longer. That's exactly what it does for me. So you guys are having trouble staying awake. That's right. So that still point is just this place where it allows me to kind of wander. And it really is this, I love that spot and elongating it. Yes, still point becomes expansive. I've been playing with what I call hypno-psychedelics, and it's how can I get people in such a state where they have that kind of undifferentiated experience of consciousness that people sometimes get, that glimpse of we are one, or into that kind of no default mode network, no self recursive loop. And this is kind of, I use this as an entrance sometimes. I just did, was it last weekend? God, time is weird these days. Last weekend, I did a deep trance immersion, and we were playing with elongating this expansive space. I like to play. I'm a bit of a trance junkie. So very relaxed, a weight lifted like a feather now. Excellent. Thank you for your feedback. So as I said, some people will just, follow that still point into sleep. Okay, so we've got shifting into peripheral vision. We've got the tapping, or remember the imagined tapping. Now we've got relaxing the back of the tongue and breathing. Sometimes that's all you need, but we're going to go deeper. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into a little self-hypnosis. And I'm going to, it's hard to do with a group. Typically, when I'm working one-on-one with someone, I install a hypnotic Ambien button. So it is a hypnotic version of a sleeping pill. And it's a little difficult to do that with you all. So I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to play a little bit with it. But I'm going to teach you a very simple, there's two different forms of self-hypnosis that I use. Typically, I will teach all of this, and this one coming up on the first session. The second session, I will teach a more embodied trance for my clients. So I'm going to see what time we got here. We might have time to do both. All right, everyone. So you're ready to go into a nice little trance? As if you haven't been going in and out. So for this one, I'll teach you the same one, I believe, that I taught you all those years ago, Dana. So what I want you to do is, and I really like to show people that they're in a state of hypnosis. And in order to do that, what I'll ask is that you are sitting or laying down. If you're sitting, put your feet flat on the floor. Okay. You're going to find a focal point. I'm going to keep it really super simple so that you can do this whenever you want. Find a focal point and soften your gaze. So it is as if you could diffuse your focus on that point. Then I'm going to count from 10 down to 1. I'll be asking you to open and close your eyes at different points. It's all you have to do. So soften your gaze a bit more. Now close your eyes, everyone, for 10. Imagine a nice slow wave of relaxation moving down your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. And imagine the number 10 slowly fading out of your mind. Some people will visualize the numbers growing dim and distant, and slowly relaxing out of your mind. Then you're going to open your eyes to quickly close them for 9. Imagine another wave of relaxation moving down your whole body as the number 9 fades, relaxing out of your mind. And you open to close 8, and another wave. That wave of relaxation, almost like a slow wave of sleepiness, moving down your body. As the number 8 fades, grows dim and distant, relaxing out of your mind, so that you get sleepier and sleepier with each count. And you're going to open your eyes, close your eyes. 7. And another wave. That wave of comfort sinking in. The number 7 fading, relaxing out of your mind. And then you open your eyes, close your eyes. 6. And another wave. That wave of comfort sinking in. The number fading. You open your eyes and close your eyes. 5. And another wave. That relaxation sinking in to anywhere in your body that needs a bit more comfort as you relax even more, getting sleepier and sleepier. And then you open your eyes, close your eyes. 4. Even more comfort sinking in. That slow wave of sleepiness, of relaxation moving down your body as the number 4 fades. And then you open your eyes, close your eyes. 3. And another wave. That wave of comfort sinking in. Getting sleepier and sleepier as the number fades slowly out of your mind. You might even think the words to yourself, I'm getting sleepy. And then you open, close, 2, relax even more. Another wave, comfort sinking in, relaxation sinking in. Getting more and more comfortable inside. This sleepiness increasing. And then you open your eyes, close your eyes. 1. And another wave, letting that wave of sleepiness, of comfort sink in as the number fades. And here you can just begin to relax even more. Now I'm going to suggest that your unconscious processes, even as you sleep, so can go through those files as it relates to sleep, updating what needs updating, upgrading those things that are ready, deleting the old programs that don't fit you anymore, so that you can remember how to fall asleep more easily and quickly. You'll be able to fall asleep. And let me show you that this is more than just a relaxed state. Hypnosis is simply a state where you are a little more suggestible to yourself. So I want you to focus on those legs and imagine your legs are so full of relaxation that they're heavy. What would it feel like if those legs were so full of relaxation they were heavy like lead or like wood, heavier than when you're sleeping? Imagine it, but more importantly, since you're the hypnotist here, think to yourself, my legs are so heavy. Just think that thought, because in this state where you're more open to suggestion and you suggest something like, my legs are so heavy, notice that your legs believe you. And as you notice the heaviness, that will tell you that you're in a state of power where you can make suggestions to yourself and your body believes you. Now, some people notice that heaviness even more. When they try to lift their legs, they can sense how much heavier they feel. I show you that so you fully understand that you can suggest to yourself now that you're falling asleep or that you can fall asleep tonight quickly and easily. Just think to yourself, I can sleep. And then tonight, you'll find it easier and easier to fall asleep more naturally, quickly and easily falling asleep. Now, here is where I typically might teach an ambient button, and I'll just do a little quick thing with you if you like. The thing about taking something that helps you to fall asleep is there's a certain level of confidence around it. In other words, you're laying in bed, you're just waiting for it to kick in. It's a very different kind of waiting. So you might want to imagine you've taken something that's going to work. You're just waiting for it to kick in. What I do with my clients is I'll say, how do you know it's starting to kick in first? So a typical client would say something like, well, I feel this relaxation in my body. I feel myself really relaxing. And I'll say, that's right. Feel that relaxation in your body, the one that tells you you're going to fall asleep. Some people will say, my thoughts slow down. And I'll say, that's right. Slowing down your thoughts. Or they get a feeling behind their eyes that lets them know that the thing is kicking in and they're going to fall asleep, that they know they're on their way to sleep. And when I get them to the point where they feel like they're really right there on the edge of sleep, I say, squeeze your thumb and forefinger together so that anytime you need it, you put your thumb and forefinger together and you'll start to feel the effects of that sleeping pill. So take a moment and squeeze your thumb and forefinger together. It's almost like you double the dose. Feel that sleepiness kicking in. Now, we're almost out of time here, so I'm going to suggest you all are going to have a much easier time sleeping now that you know how to begin to transition right into sleep. And all you have to do is do any one of those techniques. And if the tapping puts you to sleep, great. If the peripheral vision puts you to sleep, great. Slowing down your internal dialogue and movies, great. If relaxing the back of your tongue and breathing in and breathing out extra long into that still point gets you to sleep, fantastic. If somehow you still manage to be awake, that's when you'll open your eyes and close your eyes and think to yourself 10 as you imagine a slow wave of relaxation and the number 10 slowly fading. You can think to yourself, I'm falling asleep. And you might be able to even open your eyes and close your eyes for 9. And another slow wave of relaxation. As the number 9 fades, you can say, I'm falling asleep. But I'm not going to continue counting because we need to wake up. For most of us, we have a long day ahead. So you'll feel yourself wanting to stretch, wiggling your fingers and toes, letting those legs get lighter and lighter. Feel yourself emerging, moving your body, wiggling fingers and toes, and come on back to normal waking consciousness, whatever that is. I'm not sure I even know what normal waking consciousness is, but let's just say becoming a little more alert. And what I would love, since I can't really hear you or see you, is for the chat. Phenomenal, excellent. Glad you liked it, Pam. How was that, Dana?
Yes. Interestingly, I have nothing to say other than phenomenal, amazing, all new techniques for everyone in this room, I would very much imagine, are mostly new because they were mostly new to me. And the counting one, you actually did teach me that one.
Yeah.
And I've never made it to 1. I've never once made it to 1. I think it's like 4 was the lowest I got. And then the next day I would think back and I'm like, wow, I didn't make it to 1. So these really all work. The other thing I would say is that I didn't just do them at night. I would check in with myself during the day so that I brought down my arousal during the day. I love the idea of your bucket and taking out my
Yeah,
bucket so it doesn't
it's the way to
overflow.
think about it. So I'm just, looking in the chat just to see if there's any questions real fast, because I know we're kind of out of time.
Yeah.
You can reach me. I have melissatears.com. I also have my center site, which is the Center for Integrative Hypnosis. I've got some, online stuff going on. I teach my certification training in coaching the unconscious mind and my certification in integrative hypnosis. That's a pretty kick-ass class. So, just email me. mmtears@gmail.com. If you have any questions about anything we've gone over, because I really typically teach in a more conversational, interactive, and I feel like I'm just staring at a bunch of names. So I have to hallucinate all of you are smiling and really relaxed. I'm just picturing you all very sleepy so that you can sleep tonight. But I actually do have to jump off. Was there anything you need from me? We
I want to
good?
just, yes, I want you to accept our thanks, please.
My
And
pleasure.
you're really helping us. I am grateful to you
And then
for
you all
all that you
are
do.
helping others. So on the airplane, when they say put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Yes.
So if I can help all of you to do that so that you are, even more well rested and sleeping well for all of your patients, then it makes it all worthwhile. All right, everyone, I got to sign off. Sleep
Thank you,
well.
Melissa. Thank you, everyone.
If you
Have a
have any
wonderful
questions, just
Thursday.
email me. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.